purpose of this meeting is for the board to show the electors how they arrived at the budget. And so what I would do is, everyone have a copy? Most everyone does. If anyone has...
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
can I interrupt you for one moment? Could I speak to you before you go any further?
I don't want to entertain that from the board, not even happy.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I've noticed that the agenda for this public hearing and the special meeting of the electorate was changed yesterday at 3:30 and posted on the website. From my experience as a deputy clerk treasurer for another township, any changes to the agenda of a meeting of the electors must be posted at least 15 days prior to the meeting. This is supported by the Wisconsin Towns Association. I spoke with Attorney Carol Rocky, I believe, how you pronounce her name. When I talked to her today, I asked if the agenda for the meeting of the electors could be changed without the 15-day notice, and she said, the electors' meeting must be posted in 3 places or published as a Class 2 notice at least 15 days in advance, and no changes are allowed to the agenda after it is posted, per state statute 60.12. The public hearing on the budget must also be posted in 3 places at least 15 days in advance, per state statute 65.90. This is according to Carol of Legal Counsel of the WTA. I then asked what recourse for the electorate if the changed agenda was not properly posted for 15 days. She said, I would probably have the town electors only take up the business that was posted for the 15 days and then have them call another elector meeting at least 15 plus days out to be noticed properly if there is any other elector business that needs to be acted upon. If the items that were not noticed are acted on tonight, they would be subject to a challenge by an elector in court, per legal counsel Carol at WTA. Therefore, I contend that the amended agenda that was posted yesterday on December 4th is invalid, and the only agenda that can be used for public hearing and the meeting of the electorate is the agenda that was posted on the November 20th of 2013.
Thank you. There are no changes in the items that are going to be at this meeting. Okay. Okay, we have the budget. Income, we have the shared revenue. Most of these items are the same. Highway aid, state-owned lands, managed forest, state 2%, recycling grant, special assessment for trash, highway and bridge aids, dog licenses. The town tax is about the same as last year. The interest is about the same, municipal service, cable TV. Alcohol licenses, that was the trout farm, alcohol license issued, and building permits. And then there was a sale of the fire and EMS equipment. So that was basically the income. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Okay, well, the expenses, the salaries were the same as last year. We had legislative, WTA classes, there was a new board, so there was, that budget went up a little bit. Mileage in office, general administration, office expenses, assessor, the accountants, streetlights, town hall expenses, road construction and maintenance. Well, that was up quite a bit from the year before, and that was due to snow plowing and road repairs. Signs, fire district, trash removal, fire and EMS services went up 2%. Fire equipment note, fire district pension, Social Security and Medicare. The attorney bills were quite a bit higher than last year. Some of it due to the annexation lawsuit. Cemetery, Palmyra Rec Department, conservation and development permit, miscellaneous, delinquent utilities and penalties, community band, library donation, American Legion donation, animal control, stormwater fees for the airport. Does anybody have any questions about the expenses?
I do.
Okay.
What was the purpose for the $97,914 that was transferred from LGIP to the general fund checking account?
Well, because that was from Payne and Dolan, and I'm doing a paper trail, and whatever isn't used will go back in. That's what I was told I should do, is have a paper trail. And,
So I guess why would it be transferred from the LGIP to the general fund checking account when the checking account balance was already over $227,000?
well, because there was a lot of stuff that wasn't out yet, and I did not wanna get where I'm at the bare bones, so I transferred it. It can just go right back into the LGIP when we're done at the end of the year, along with the 43,000 for the fire truck that has to go into the new account I made.
I'm just kind of curious what all the other stuff is, I guess, for the $227,000. But thank you for your response.
I have a question. On the fire equipment note, are we still paying on fire equipment somewhere?
Yes.
We haven't finished off everything yet?
No.
No,
How
We
much?
still have 3 years.
3 years at 33?
Little less.
no,
Okay.
32 next
32.5
year.
something.
Okay, well, that's
I
fine.
have a copy of, if you would like.
No, that's fine, it just seemed like we were paying the village and then we're paying a note yet. I thought maybe we were out of business by the time we got out of that whole thing.
No.
Okay.
If you wanna see that.
Oh, I believe you, I just was curious.
It makes sense for that thought process.
Well, yeah, I thought with selling the one
That's how
truck
you
this
get the
past
money.
year, we might have gotten enough to get out of that business a little bit, or out of that note.
We need a motion. Turn up this meeting. Yeah, we don't have a motion.
Wendy, what is this account transaction? It's 30,000. What is that for?
Account, that is Kathy's, so it's under the 2012, is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? I have no idea, it's the Kathy's, from her budget, I put all that into, I had to do the 2012, so I can't explain that one exactly.
Along with that same question, it doesn't make sense to have a loan, take a loan out on fire equipment when you got more than enough money in your LGIP to pay for it. If you're not getting any interest on your money in your LGIP, why would you paying off a loan?
The loan was taken by the prior board.
What was that?
The loan was taken out by the previous board, so we have an obligation to pay that note because that was something that was done prior to this board.
But you couldn't pay it off early?
We probably could.
That would make more sense.
I'd say it's a lot of money.
Yeah. Is that what the interest is on that loan?
Let's see, I don't know if I have that. I don't think I have the page that has the interest. I can find it out for you, and I will. Curious?
Well, it's probably more than what we're getting on the LGIP account. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think it's on this page. I think it's on the previous page where it has the.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The garbage collection expenses are going up for next year compared to this year. I see that the special assessment fees are staying the same or actually going down slightly. Is the rest of that balance being picked up by general fund tax levy?
No, but special assessment kind of falls under Act 20. So we have to actually have a board meeting and see if we could even raise it. Otherwise, eventually that's where it's gonna have to come from, is general funds. Because there's two different answers that you get when you call the Department of Revenue. The county has gotten two different answers, other people have, and sometimes they'll say that after July of this year, you can never go back and change it. Some of them say you can have a special board meeting that you could, but we haven't done anything yet because right now we're still okay, but we're gonna need to. It was supposed to be done in July, so.
My understanding of Act 20 was that if part of your services are covered by special assessments and you raise those fees, then you also have to take the expenditures out of the levy side. And that was my question, is if the levy is picking up that balance so that you don't have the offset between them at this point.
Right now, we're kind of okay, but next year, if it goes up again like that, then they suggested at the county, maybe we see about having a meeting, talk to the Department of Revenue, because nobody really understands that law. You get all these different answers when you call.
Okay,
Some
thanks.
multiple interpretations of the law.
I'd like to answer the gentleman about the paying off that loan. We're trying to get as much money together as we can to fix roads. And my opinion is, rather than pay that off, there are roads that can be chip sealed and stuff where it'll stop them from needing major repair like we had to do on Tamarack Road. If more money can be spent on roads now to keep them from deteriorating to a point where they have to be totally reconstructed, my opinion is the money is better spent there, because it'll pay off 2 or 3 times if you do some preventive stuff now rather than have to redo these roads. My opinion is that money would be better spent on the roads and paid it off over time. But the board will consider paying it off.
I can understand that, but if you look at your road construction and maintenance, you are budgeting $175,000, which is the same amount that you budgeted in 2013. So you haven't increased your road maintenance budget at all.
May I address that a second?
Sure.
With $5,000 per mile that we don't have to go to the electric for to spend, I was gonna propose putting another $100,000 into the highway budget at a later date. And we've been averaging approximately $126,000 a year for the snow plowing, grass cutting, tree cutting, all that stuff. So of that $175,000, we actually only have $50,000 we can dedicate to the roads for fixing something. And a lot of the money that went in the LGIP was set aside for road work originally.
If you took your $5,000 a
It's
mile,
$190,000,
it comes out to $190,000,
yeah.
and you only budgeted $175,000, so.
But I was going to take $100,000 out of the LGIP this year and put toward roads, and we'd still have $100,000 in for a rainy day fund that we could expend next year into roads some more, seeing how, where we sit with the finances.
Because we don't know what the winter will bring. We have no idea. It could be starting up now or.
Well, I would still put this under advisement.
Okay.
2 questions regarding the highway maintenance and more specifically the construction or maintenance of the surface rather than the snow plowing and that type of thing. I know that you guys recently this year formed a highway committee to evaluate your highways, and I know that from some of the discussions that there is definitely a need for street improvements pretty much all over the town of Palmyra. Do you have a 5-year or a 3-year?
I'm working on a 5-year plan right now.
Okay. Do you know ballpark per year what kind of investment it would take to get you to that point?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
It's, what we did last year, we did 3/4 of a mile on Tamarack Road, it cost us $97,000. But that was a road that had to be pulverized and redone completely. We've got spots like that that have to be done. Plus, I'd like to do some chip sealing to extend the life of some of the other roads. And in 2016, we would be eligible for a grant from the state that we have to apply for in 2014. And I'm gonna be working on that also.
Okay.
There's $100,000, there are grants available for townships that can show that their highways were ruined in part by agricultural heavy traffic. And these awards, if you apply for them, there's a good chance, in my opinion, Palmyra would be able to get one of the grants.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I have one more. Do the checking accounts for the general fund and airport earn interest? And if so, how much? I mean, obviously, checking accounts aren't.
Yeah, a little bit,
exactly
like maybe,
0.25.
like maybe $6 a month on the general or something. Don, I haven't looked at your interest on here, so.
And the
And he's-
LGIP, is that as low as the checking?
That pays more.
That pays more, and that varies every year. Trying to think, I'm not a copy of that. I can print out what, like this month's, I'll send it to the meeting, and they can tell you what November's interest is, but it's still, you know, I think .0 something, you know, probably or 1%.
I guess maybe, wouldn't it be more fiscally prudent to keep more money in the accounts that are making more interest rather than jacking up like a checking account that doesn't earn a lot of interest? I don't know, it's just, I'm just trying to look at it from maybe.
Yeah, I don't think they were that much, I mean, a few dollars, but not much different. And it's gotta go back, and like I said, I haven't transferred, there's money that's needing to go back into it. I just have to have some kind of a trail when I'm paying for stuff. Does that make sense? Sort of?
Kinda.
Well, I thought the same thing, why can't I just transfer, but it seemed to be paper trail.
Any other questions?
On the LGIP, do we have like year-to-date is what the balance are sitting at for the general fund checking and the LGIP accounts?
Yes, I can do that. Sheet of paper. The one that I did with
Oh, that one?
yeah. So here,
Here's the general fund.
so in the, right now in the LGIP, for the general, there's $101,299.84. And that was, I checked it today. And, because there was 99,000, and the 97, as they pointed out, came into the general fund last month. And all that, anything that's left over is going to have to be, at the end of the year, put into the LGIP or something, anyways, because if we have overages, then it goes into that.
So that 101 was the checking or the?
No, the
LGIP?
101 is the LGIP.
Okay. Do you have a,
In the general
checking
fund,
list?
it's, right now, because there's checks that haven't come through, like the counties, and there's like 18,000 right now that hasn't come through that I wrote out. And so that's, $197,378.70.
okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, that's the worksheet.
Any other questions? Yep.
Am I looking at this right? Attorney fees, so far this year, $80,998.
Yes.
I understand that we have that lawsuit going against, for that annexation. But what does the town board have planned to bring those fees under control?
Well, roughly 24,000 is the annexation. The other is the town attorney. And I guess part of it is every time we turn around, we have the lawyer here to protect ourselves. So until we don't have to or feel comfortable.
I may make a comment on
And then,
the
what,
WTA is a legal resource.
that's
for you
also
guys.
illegal, and we go to it, I called it today. But a lot of times, Tom has been writing letters to a few of you, and every time he answers, he charges us. So there's a lot of that
That's
too.
not $24,000 worth of letters.
No, his was 20, again, 24,000 was on the annexation.
We are trying to get the attorney fees
Fees
under
down.
control. I was at the budget meeting of the town of Sullivan, Tuesday night. Their budget, they propose $1,000 for next year.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, apples and oranges.
Yes. I would, I try to go to the WTA when I can,
I would
so.
think about trying to find ways to get that.
The board is aware of that, and we'll try to get it under control.
That's the controllable.
Are there any other questions?
What are the plans for cutting as far as having an attorney sit in on all the meetings? Are there any plans, is this indefinite?
I would not feel comfortable sitting here without an attorney present. Until I learn more about what I'm doing with, what we're going through right now, I would not feel comfortable without him here.
In what regard?
Well, Laura, for example, today, and
Every time we turn around, we're being challenged. I want him here to protect us, to make sure we do the right thing.
I've been personally threatened by numerous people that live in the town that if I choose to make a decision on this board, my own personal business will be threatened. And that's unacceptable, but those are part of the
I
reasons
agree,
why
that
the
is
town is here.
unacceptable.
That's why,
That is
that's why
unacceptable,
the
but I don't
attorney's
know what
here.
an attorney sitting here is going to do for that purpose. I just think I would,
well,
okay, I understand.
for example, the other day, for the special meeting, an attorney did the posting, and then they posted it wrong. Well, we had the attorney post for the meeting on Monday. She wrote it, I cut and pasted it, and we were told it was wrong. And then I'm supposed to know more than the attorney.
Well, was it wrong though?
No, it wasn't
It was
wrong,
not
but that's
wrong.
what I'm saying, it was,
We had to send that to the attorney to have it double checked, and that cost money. And it wasn't wrong. The attorney called the other attorney, and they said it was adequate. And so we spent $200 because
Couldn't the
someone,
WTA do that for you though?
it was on Sunday. And I was running around on Sunday night reposting because Larry felt it was, because we couldn't get a hold of anybody, we'll just do it to appease everyone. But that's
Honestly,
what
the
it comes
WTA
down
has
to.
not been very helpful in a lot of concerns that we have. They can give us general recommendations, but not specific recommendations. And they need to know information about the town that's private sometimes, and you can share that with them, but they still just give you generalized answers. They're not specific answers as to how they affect our town as an individual. And we're told from the WTA that we should go back to our town attorney to ask those questions. So although they're helpful in some ways, they're not always helpful.
Mr. Allen,
The dollars that were invested in legal fees to overturn the annexation, which is still in progress, but about to happen. My question is, how much tax revenue will you be able to keep as a benefit of overturning the annexation? How much tax money will you get per year,
Well, we won't have all the funds that
approximately?
I think the amount of tax revenue lost would have been about $30,000,
Per year?
yes.
plus all the fees that they were starting to charge us for everything. That's what it came down to.
I believe the taxes on that axe land were about $30,000. that would've went to
As a
our,
total.
went to our friends at the village.
I seriously question the numbers, but I'll
Okay.
take your word for it
That's fine.
tonight.
That's what I think. That was a figure that I believe. Any more questions? If not, budget hearing is adjourned. And now, is that okay? We need a,
Do you need a motion to close it?
we need a motion to close it.
No, if
It's a
there's
hearing.
no further questions, the hearing is closed.
Okay.
We move on to the.
Okay, no further questions, the hearing is closed. Now we have a special town meeting of electors. Call to order. Do you have verification of publication of the notice?
Yes, I published the notice 15 days ahead on November 20th at 6:15, and I know Don was in the airport and I grabbed another copy of his airport so he could verify. If I need to, I'll go swear it out on the affidavit. Also, my husband was with when I was posting. That was for the reposting. on the 15th.
New business, adopted 2013 town tax levy to be paid in 2014.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
pursuant to agenda item number 1 on tonight's meeting and statute 6010 sub 1 sub A of Wisconsin statutes, for the adoption of the 2013 town of Palmyra tax levy to be paid in 2014, and taking into account the information that was presented during the public hearing regarding the finances of the town of Palmyra, I would move to direct the board of the town of Palmyra to adopt the levy that is $33,475 less than what the posted levy of $272,218 was, for a total tax levy of $238,743 for the tax levy of 2013 to be paid in 2014.
I second that motion.
What's your name, please?
Josh, last name is Gajewski. G-A-J-E-W-S-K-I.
Kate,
Will you pick those numbers again that you wanna do?
Go ahead.
$33,475 less.
For a total of what?
$238,743.
Why are you recommending we lower the levy?
Specifically revolving around the payment of the note for the fire equipment.
We still have to pay that, no? And our levy could be at 293,
Understood.
just, so, please spell your name again.
Last name is G-A-J-E-W-S-K-I.
Okay.
How do you propose we pay for the note if we lower the levy?
With the balance that's either sitting in the LGIP account or the general fund checking.
Can I ask a question? How would you propose we pay for the roads? If we want to do any more improvements on the roads, how would you propose that we do that?
There's $300,000 worth of LGIP and or general fund checking balance that could be used for road improvements. In
So
fact,
you're suggesting that we spend all of the town's money at one time and pretty much go broke?
No. No. Part of my questioning of Mr. Miller was if there was a 5-year road maintenance plan in place, and if there was an expected expenditure for that amount of work. And at this point in time, he has neither. No discredit to him or the work that he's done. But I don't feel that it is right for a community to tax for something that they, to date, don't have a breakdown of how or what the improvement will be for that money that's collected.
If I can comment along Josh's line, the question is, why are the undesignated reserves that we have nearly 10 times over the amount allowed by law for tax levy? So we're over, but yet you guys don't wanna allocate it for, or I shouldn't say that, pardon, strike that from the record, but, it appears that you don't wanna, you just wanna hang on to it for some odd
Ed,
reason.
if you were listening, Ed said earlier we were intending to use $100,000 from that fund for roads, and we don't know how much